Okay, for today's assignment, we are going to be making a dragon eye. I'm going to show you how to draw a basic shape for a dragon eye. You can totally change how you want yours. I'm going to go right in with Sharpie. I want my eye to be pretty big, so I'm going to start close to the edge, and I'm going to make kind of a rainbow shape that kicks out a little bit. I'm going to do the same thing upside down. I like to flip my paper. So now I have my eye shape. Yours can be different, totally fine. I'm gonna go ahead and give it some eyelids. So I'm just basically doing the same thing again, kind of like that. And maybe I want a second eyelid at the top. I'm gonna go ahead and add the pupil. Maybe I want, or the iris, that's the iris. Maybe I want my pupil to be crazy shape instead of just a circle. You can throw in a little highlight for when you color. Now around my eye, I want to add some scales. I'm gonna start kind of medium size and then I'm gonna get bigger. And these scales can be any shape you want. You could do it as ovals, or I'm gonna do it this way, where you have little scalloped, bumpy edges. And the trick with this is that when you do your second layer of your scalloped edges, you want to start in the middle. So I'm going to start at the middle of this one and keep going. That makes it look like they're overlapping like scales would. And notice that they're getting a little bit bigger. See, I'm going to run off the paper here. That's okay. It would still meet back right there. You could change the shape of these too. Maybe you want a little bit of a point instead. Kind of running off the paper. It would go the same way. So if you had that point, you'd kind of start in the middle for the next ones. And you want to do that until you're completely done with your paper and it goes off the edge. The other way you could do this is the oval way. So maybe I'm just going to start with some medium-sized ovals, and they could have some space in between them if you want for like the skin, or they don't have to, they could touch. Try not to overlap like I did. You want to follow the curve of your eye though. That's kind of the important part. Then you can go in, make them a little bigger this time. I like to scatter it so the middle of this is over the gap. When you're making either shapes, don't make them teeny tiny, because when we start to color later, it's not going to be as easy to do our goal of color mixing when your scales are tiny, and it'll take you way longer than you want it to. Okay, now I have my dragon eye done. Now you get to use whatever colors you have. I'm probably going to bring some colors if I can think of a way to sanitize them. If not, you're just gonna have to work with what you've got. when I traditionally do this, I like to use colors of similar shades, but I'm thinking that most of us don't have shades of colors. We just have our rainbow and maybe like a teal. So I have some crayons right now. If you have colored pencils, that's okay, but crayons work the best, I find. I'm going to take my crayons and I'm gonna get shades that are similar to each other. So I'm gonna get my blue, green, and my red, or my blue, purple, and my red, because if we were in the rainbow, in the color wheel, in a circle, red is on the other side of purple, and blue and purple are right next to each other. So I'm gonna start with my blue first, and I'm just gonna go for one of my bigger ovals, and I'm going to lightly color my whole scale blue. Now, if you want to do this with just 2 colors, you can. And actually, maybe I'm going to skip the red and I'm going to do green instead. And now I'm going to take my purple, and I'm going to use my purple around the edge on one side to darken up the scale a little bit. Maybe I'm going to make my blue a little darker here to blend it a little bit together. And then I'm gonna add some green on the other side. I'm curving with my curve of the line of the scale. So I'm zooming in right there. I'm gonna do one more zoomed in like that. So I'm going to color the whole thing blue. I'm gonna take my purple and follow the curve, what I was trying to say earlier, blending them together. And I went back in with my blue and blended this in with that purple a little bit more. And then I'm gonna take my green, and it's like I'm adding a little bit of a highlight. Color mixing makes things look more interesting. I will be bringing my finished example that I have in the past to class so you can see it. You can use different colors. You could use reds, oranges, and yellows. If you have shades of the same color, you could use different shades of blue. It'll make it interesting. I think that's what I did on my original. Then you can go in, color your pupil if you want it to be like whatever. This could be black or red or however you feel. Just make sure that you're using multiple colors when you're doing things. Like if I'm gonna color my iris yellow, maybe I color my iris yellow, but then on the outside, I'll just color a little bit right now so you can see. Maybe on the outside, I can have it fade into like a fiery red orangey shade so it looks more interesting. It makes it look more dynamic and realistic. So I'll just color this half really quick. Okay, maybe I will take some orange and blend that on the edges. It's like we're making a sunset, and I'm following the curve. If you follow the curve, it makes it blend more. Okay, and maybe a little bit of red on the edge. I'm pushing harder on the edge, and then when I blend, I'm pushing lightly to give that little mix. And see if I just cover that. It's a nice little ombre effect got going on. All right.